If most things in this world are made up, what do we define as real? That very question is a revolving discussion in our society today, or has been for all time. And the frustration behind this discussion is that there isn't any solidarity in finding the answer. Sometimes the perspective on these discussions aren't as valuable because of the measurement of that investment to understand. To put it simply, most people aren't likely to care. They'll go off and live out their lives without considering the possibility of what is or what isn't. And to some extent, there isn't anything wrong with moving in that way. My question to that would be this, though. Are you actually moving at all? Or are you just circling? Are you essentially placing yourself in what you deem comfortable? Because the irony of these discussions is that these are constructs that originate from core philosophies that we're engaged with and still engage with since what we understand as the beginning of time. And what is time? I mean, we're told that it moves like a clock, always moving forward and never moving backwards. And the only evidence we have to support this idea is the natural progression in all living things. If nothing can age, then nothing can change. Change is the indication of a passage of time. More wrinkles on our face, or a simple reflection of what was, and how that correlates to our present. That's how time truly exists. But what if we twisted that language? Because time is boundless. Yet, in our own adoptive language, of which was fostered and carried over many centuries, we've decided that numerical systems must be inserted in order for us to create our own relationship to said concept, for us to consider our own time. It's in writing and in text. And there's another construct many don't consider. Speech. As per what speech is, it's a natural ability to vocalize or communicate. And yet, our world has applied the belief that speech is words. But where do the words come from? Speech doesn't create words, as time doesn't create numerical knowledge. Speech is a natural occurrence. What we've done is insert the idea of speaking and writing as the very definition, which is ironic given the fact that we as species are responsible for creating words. Where do you think the idea of being human came from? Or the word itself? The idea of identity, morality. We made it up. And we make it up as we go along in life. It wasn't found on the ground. We didn't dig it up. We just decided that's how we will communicate. and not everyone or everything was gifted with that ability. And when it isn't applicable to everybody, is that definition not just a human construct? A way for us to satisfy our curiosity about such concepts? There's no such thing as identification. There's only definitions. We are nothing more as individuals, a collection of influences that will be passed down to the next generation. Are we just seeking our place within these concepts? Yeah, we are. Because we have higher reasoning that allows us to grasp the idea, but not so much appreciate it. The only way to know that truth, that very honest truth, is to detach from your ego, to admit that nothing is in our control. Everything that hasn't been touched by ourselves is what the truth looks like. It's when we decide to take is when it breaks and is fashioned into something we want to make. The industrial industry has been around a lot longer than you think. It's, once again, how we deem it so. Because when you've accepted and adopted the things we have created, it's not applicable anymore to the idea of what's real and what isn't. We just accept that it's real. It's a big factory made to shape up pacific minds with understanding of our own beliefs to these concepts. It's a point of view that everyone has chosen to believe in their own way. We cling to meanings that we believe are the right ones. Because once the illusion is broken, once the factory stops working, society begins to fall. Without the illusion, riots, protest, shootings, all of what we are capable of doing, the raw, primal spirit of a human being, may become more attainable. And that's why the system is in place. Because of the word we've established called dangerous. It's a big book that we wrote ourselves. We shaped the idea of what it means to be human. Now, living in a world filled with communities and cities, that meaning varies. Some preach religion, some preach politics, some blend them together. But all that we know is fashioned from ourselves. We created God. We created politics. And we created war because of it. The real God of humanity was the first ever to tell and sell a story. And the only storytellers on this planet is us. If you were to sit underneath a tree without considering your feelings at that moment, feel the breeze around you. See the trees sway. Watch the birds chirp and fly by. In that pocket of time, you will truly see what reality looks like. A peace unknown to most. And a world slowly becoming forgotten. What is real is what's never touched. As a species, we do indeed exist, but as humans, we have been designed. Designs that have changed over time. But only by the principle of what we deem to be. Because the answer to the question is yet another question. If all carry a different answer to a question, is the idea merely and simply what we choose to believe? Isn't answering it only applying what you already know? Maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm just making all this up. Maybe I'm just saying all this because I'm bored. Maybe we're all a little bored. Maybe that's why the idea of humanity exists. Maybe that's where it spawned from. Boredom. Or maybe we're just not happy. Maybe there's some truth in such a simple reflection. If to be is through me, what am I choosing not to see?